Welcome in the panel. We got a lot to get into this morning. We welcome in former Nevada State GOP chairwoman and Republican strategist Amy Tarkanian is with us. Project 21 National Advisory Board member Christopher Arps is here, and senior contributor for the Federalist Benjamin Weingarten is here as well. Good morning to all. Great to have you on this Thursday morning. I'd like to show just one additional poll that I found from Quinnipiac with Joe Biden's handling of key issues. Take a look at this. The numbers are They're not even appalling anymore. These numbers are pretty shocking. Again, we're not 9 months into Joe Biden's presidency, but the approval rating when it comes to Joe Biden handling the southern border, 23% right now. Immigration, 25%. Those are very similar. Foreign policy, I actually thought this was high, Amy, 34%. So foreign policy, that encompasses a whole lot of stuff. But after the Afghan withdrawal, 13 dead Americans, countless dead Afghan civilians, including 7 kids, of family, and it just goes on and on and on. As commander-in-chief, his current approval rating, 37%. That is not the worst in history, but now we're getting close. We're getting a lot closer to the worst in history. Amy, what do you make of this?
Well, I think that the numbers are actually much worse, realistically, because as we know, you can skew polls slightly, and usually they favor the left. And so this right here tells me that the pollsters, no matter which one you want to read, are really struggling at this moment to try to keep President Biden and his administration somewhat afloat. And it's also very telling when you have a billionaire who is willing to donate his own money, roughly $53.1 million, I believe,
right,
to go ahead and try to finish the southern border wall on his own dime, because people are frustrated and the crime has skyrocketed because of it. We're fearful because of COVID coming in and other illnesses, and this administration is just sitting on their hands. Ben
Weingarten, good to have you back on. Okay, so the president's going to be in Chicago today. He's not going to. First of all, I'm curious if he gets, if he gets the same reception that he got in Michigan, Chicago, not far from where he was just a couple of days ago, and he was booed, and people were out there giving him not such a warm welcome in the state of Michigan.
Let's go Brandon chants?
That, by the way, that Let's Go Brandon thing, that meme that's better than Bernie Sanders' gloves at the inauguration. I've seen that everywhere now. Let's go Brandon. But he's going to be promoting the vaccine. If we can get the second full screen up that we just had, his coronavirus approval rating is just 48% right now. 48%. He's going to run on how he got rid of the virus and how he vaccinated America. Only 48% of Americans think that he's handling the COVID response well. And he's going to go pitch the mandatory vaccines, which have been incredibly unpopular. And according to multiple reports, Ben, the Biden administration is now considering vaccine mandates for interstate travel in many parts of the country. Can you imagine the gridlock? I'm in the tri-state. Can you imagine the gridlock if there was a vaccine requirement to travel from New Jersey to New York or Connecticut or something like that? And it would be the same thing in many areas. Chris, you're in St. Louis. Imagine from Illinois to St. Louis crossing the Mississippi. It would be a total disaster. Ben, to you first.
Yeah, look, and we see these images from overseas in many European countries of these massive protests against vaccine passports and the like. And the media blackout in America, actually, I think is telling. It's almost like they don't want the American people to see that there's a massive backlash in the rest of the world, or to see what's going on in Australia, which frankly looks more like communist China today than Australia, given the draconian measures that they're taking, imposing upon people with respect to coronavirus. But look, the sum and substance of the entire Biden campaign, to the extent there was a campaign, as noted, was no mean tweets, and I'm gonna defeat the coronavirus with the vaccine that my predecessor, of course, helped facilitate the delivery of, development of, in record time, but he'll never get credit for. And the bottom line is that we've seen massive spikes in hospitalization numbers and death numbers, et cetera. You look at them, they're far worse than they were last year. There's waning efficacy of the vaccines themselves. And the administration has no answer for it except to keep throwing things at the wall, basically, and see what sticks. And I think the American people get that they're flying blind. I mean, this really is Joe Biden's policy. You can tell based on the consequences of it.
Chris, I'm going to play you a soundbite. I want you to listen closely to the second part of what Scott Gottlieb has to say here. Take a listen.
I don't think we're going to see the all clear until this Delta wave courses its way through the country. That's probably around Thanksgiving. And then on the back end of that, we're going to have hopefully a vaccine available for children.
Yep.
And at some point before the end of the year, we probably will have the orally available drug from Merck if things go well and that undergoes a favorable review. And I think those two things are going to be sort of the bookend on the sort of pandemic phase of this virus, and we're going to be entering the more endemic phase when this becomes an omnipresent risk but doesn't represent the extreme risk that it represents right now.
Okay, so Chris, what's interesting to me there, about 30 seconds for reaction, then we can pick this up on the other side. But in 18 months' time, we've gone from, okay, we're going to get rid of coronavirus by vaccinating kids and then by the new Merck antiviral drug. YouTube, social media, they banned us from talking about any other way to treat COVID outside of vaccination. And now Dr. Scott Gottlieb, one of the most respected medical minds in the country, says that it is in fact an antiviral drug that's going to lead us out of this terrible pandemic. What'd you make of that?
Well, I thought it was nice to see a public official tell the truth. You know, we were all told that once we get vaccinated that we can all go back to normal and life will be, you know, back to normal. But now we're seeing these mandates for children and all of that. I think people are tired. People want to live with their lives. They know that this is a disease, that the virus is probably going to be with us, but we have to live our lives. And I think people are getting to that notion.
Yeah, and such hypocrisy. You know, when Donald Trump brought up hydroxychloroquine or when ivermectin was brought up by Joe Rogan, it was blasphemy. But now, no, Merck's developing a drug. It's an antiviral. Looks like it's going to really help treat COVID-19, and that's going to get us out of this terrible pandemic. We'll pick this up on the other side. Panel looking forward to that. Amy Tarkanian, Christopher Arps, Benjamin Weingarten, thank you so much.